So wanted to do a quick prep video to show how I do bone out skinless chicken thighs, but with skin on. This is kind of my usual go-to protein for a lot of recipes and stuff. And one of the big reasons is the price. I mean, I'm, $1.50 a pound on this whole pack is only $7.50, for 8 really big thighs. So you get a really good value for the money and a better tasting piece of chicken than you're going to get out of anything else. And so the way I usually do it is I like to set up an aluminum foil station to work on my chicken thighs. And then I usually will go through and debone the entire batch. So we can cut off any excess skin that's kind of hanging over the edge, just to kind of trim it up a little bit. And then all you got to do is pull this one bone out. So all I'm really doing is just carving along the sides of it to expose the outside. And then from there, I can just cut it out. So I'm using my Dexter curved boning knife for this, which I really like. Really makes it easy to kind of get in there and scrape everything out. And boom. So you've got one done in, under a minute. Once you start kind of get going, you can really pound through the whole pack. Then once you have the one end, you can kind of just scrape it down like a lollipop just to get to the end. And then you just want to cut out any of the kind of cartilage and everything that's around it, because that'll get a little problematic when you're cooking. So that's the quick way to debone the thighs. And then what I like to do for most of my preparations is I want to thin them out a little bit more. I want to get it a little bit more even. You can see here, it's not sitting flat if you're just looking at it. So what I'll do is, now that I've already have it on the foil, I add a sheet of cling wrap to the top, and then I've got my pounder here that I can then even it out. And just like that, boom, I've got 2 prepped thighs, nice and evenly thin, going to be really great. Cook up the skin, get it nice and crispy. It's going to add a lot of flavor and texture to whatever you're making. And honestly, what I normally do is I'll go through and I'll quickly do all of the batch that I just bought, even if I only need 2, which one all I need is for the cooking I'm going to do right now. And then I'll just put them back into a saran wrap bag. However many I need. If I think I need, a few for the week, I can put those into a bag I put in the fridge. And then any other ones I'll put in bags that'll stick in the freezer. And then you can just quickly thaw them, especially when they're this thin. Whatever chicken you need prepped. Even with taking out the bits of weight that we lost, you're still going to be under $2 a pound versus right now chicken breast, boneless, skinless, that's thin cut like this is $8 a pound. So I can get an entire package for the price of that. So that's my quick prep for chicken thighs that I use for all kinds of things. I'm going to use it right now to make a chicken piccata on my next video here.